This week at Shujin Academy, Season 2 has come to an end. That was a little neat, chill ending to a season that I was not expecting it to end this way. After such heavy episodes, I could understand it to a certain extent, you know, they weren't gonna top the Ishigami episode, so they didn't even try. I get that part, but ended with a decent episode, leaving me a bit let down. I was expecting a bit more. Welcome to the final student council of this season, and let's talk about Kaguya-Sama Love is War Season 2 Episode 12. We had 3 skits this week, one focusing on taking photos for the Shujin Academy school brochure, which was mainly a focus on Kaguya's sentimental side she hides from everyone, which was neat. And the second half was about the conclusion of the heartbreak that happened in that first skit, which was also neat. The third skit was a small game by Chika again, which wasn't as fun to watch or to follow along as any of the other games by Chika, but had some neat moments here and there. And that is pretty much the only way I can describe this episode. Neat. I really have zero strong opinions about this episode. It was well designed as a season ending in general, you know, in a sense that the events and feelings within the episode really makes you feel you will have to take a break from these characters now, unless you check the affiliate links down below and move over to the manga. but aside from that, I wanna say design factor of the episode, it felt like a filler middle of the season kinda episode that did not have the fun of the middle of the season episodes we had this season or anything really. It felt bland. Usually Kaguya manages to make the switch from comedy to feels back to comedy perfectly and gets you to shed tears of sadness, then bursts you into laughter. This episode did none for me. It just felt neat. Anyways, going more in depth, the first skit, Mr. French guy wants to take pictures of the crew for a booklet while Kaguya is being sentimental about the time they spent together so far, looking at the pictures of them she had taken on her flip phone, and overall, there are small jokes here and there, Miyuki and Chika acting weird to fit the commands of Mr. Baguette, then Iino acting weird to fit the commands of Mr. Baguette, and then Iino and Ishigami acting weird to... you get the point. The skit has these mini jokes like this one throughout. Not a single one really stands out to me, by the way. Jokes like Baguette putting Chika and Miyuki together to act as a couple because Kaguya can't be on camera, which makes her mad, but then Mr. Baguette compliments her that she would be a great couple with Miyuki, etc. All around, the skit just feels extremely average until they get to the roof and everyone realizes how left out Kaguya feels. Now that moment is really nice, how all 4 of them come together and ask Mr. Baguette to take a picture of them together with Kaguya's phone. They're close enough to understand how she feels bad, and want to do something for her as well, so yeah, neat. That's a good neat, by the way. But then the phone drops and gets destroyed, which ties us into the second skit. And the reason I jumped straight into the second skit without sharing any real opinions on the first skit is because this transition illustrates it very clearly why I did not enjoy this episode so much. When her phone is destroyed, Kaguya is devastated because all her memories, all the photos she has taken are now gone, but instead of focusing on that feeling in the next skit, she just goes completely soulless, which is sure perfectly fitting for Kaguya, that's not what I'm trying to say. She has to hide her feelings per her personality. The problem is the series itself doesn't try to pull the emotion cards anywhere, but on top of that tries to make cheap jokes at Kaguya's expense, which don't land at all for me because I personally do feel sad about her already. Making jokes at her expense, it doesn't make me laugh, it just feels mean-spirited. In a sense, it reminds me of one of the earlier episodes where Ishigami and Shirogane meet Iino Miko for the first time. The jokes just feel mean. And well, they were not all that funny either in the first place, which made the entire shtick fall flat for me. It was once again a great moment when they created their line group, of course, and added the pictures, but it was practically exactly the same gesture of kindness from the first skit. And sadly, none of the 2 skits made us feel a really low point to come back from, so in the end it was just a neat gesture of kindness. What makes a high point great is the low point that precedes it, and usually Kaguya is a master at this. Heck, the reason why season 1 finale was so special for me was that it started with an incredible high point, it being Kaguya's lifelong dream to see fireworks, and then as a group with her friends, she finally got a chance to see it. Their date together was that initial high point we looked forward to see, only for her parents forcing her to cancel the plan, plunging us to the absolute lowest of the low, only for Kaguya and Hayasaka getting fed up with it and to devise a plan for her to actually make it, going to yet another high point from that low, but Kaguya failing to make it no matter how hard she and others tried, leading us to yet another low point for her, and only then with Shirogane finding her in the alleyway, leading to a beautifully high point yet again. That was the roller coaster that played the emotion cards perfectly one after the other and made the season 1 finale absolutely magnificent. In this finale, the low is that Kaguya feels utterly destroyed because of losing all her pictures, but her attitude is constantly played as a joke. She doesn't portray herself as sad, that's understandable, but on the other hand, Hayasaka doesn't get sad or understand her sadness, unlike the way she felt in the season 1 ending. The student council do make jokes about her and never make it clear to the audience they feel sad for her. I mean, to be frank, aside from Shirogane, nobody even understood it was because of the phone issue, but the reasoning behind the things does not change how the emotions are conveyed in the narrative itself. They simply aren't conveyed, and that kind of rids the episode of its low point, which subsequently undermined the high point of the episode in the first place. To be frank, these two skits especially left me severely disappointed. The third one was, well, not a significant improvement. I'd still say it was somewhat of an improvement, but I feel like it was a mistake to end the season with a Chika game skit, a trivial and not a great Chika game skit at that. I just feel like the picture skits prior would have made a better season ending with the nostalgia factor going on around. The balloon game portion just felt like the producers went, oh shit, we can't fill the 24-minute runtime with these two skits alone, and instead of filling the time with opening and ending respectively, they put the balloon game skit. It just feels out of place. Like, despite not liking it all that much, the picture skits felt like an appropriate ending to a season, you know, looking back at the memories they shared together, etc. A fitting end point. Anyways, aside from that criticism, the skit was neat, on par with the overall feeling of this episode. The joke at the beginning with the vague terminology used by Chika was funny, with the reactions of all characters, albeit being a bit off character for Shirogane and Ishigami, especially considering how Shirogane acted in the 1 in 3 people skit last season. Everyone being so confident when heading for the pump only to cower was funny. It had the basic tier jokes we memorized already from the series and nothing to build upon that with. I liked Miyuki's moment with Papa Shirogane though, that one got a chuckle from me. But if it was up to me, I would just say, let's just act like episode 11 was the season finale and be done with it, to be honest. As for my favorite moment, in an episode where nothing really stood out, I have to say it was the visuals they used in the final scene. The explosion animation is from season 1 opening, and so is the closing card, and of course the ending credits going through all the characters in a funny manner deserves a mention too. That was a really enjoyable closing crawl for the season. But what was your favorite moment, and how did you feel about this season finale? Do you agree with me that it was kinda lackluster, or did you have a different, much more enjoyable experience perspective? Do let me know in the comments. But with that, we're now shifting our focus to Sword Art Online Alicization War of Underworld Part 2, as well as Sword Art Online Alicization Licorice. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Links to Kaguya-Sama Love is War Manga are in the description, and a huge thanks to all my patrons and channel members as always. And I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay cool.